Welcome to Life and Smile, the podcast. I'm Dr. Reena, a global dental expert, founder, CEO, and author. And for our 7th season, we're here to join you on screen, straight from our recording studio at 75 Harley Street. Join me in each episode where we talk about everything dental, lifestyle, business, and much more. Join in conversation with an industry insider in their chosen field who give us a behind-the-scenes glimpse into their daily regime, career turning points, and an exclusive look at to what they can't live without. As a businesswoman myself, it's been so inspiring to hear how people have built their careers and shattered those glass ceilings. So let's get the conversation going. Have you seen our latest By Dr. Reena edit? You can find out more information on www.bydrreena.com. Okay, so sitting here across from me is Trinny Woodall. You need no introduction, of course, but you are a British fashion icon, a businesswoman. You're a renowned entrepreneur in skin and beauty. So it's so amazing to have you here on Life and Smile. So thank you so much for joining the conversation. It's so inspiring to see everything you're doing. The fact that you started Trinny London in 2017 from your kitchen table, and now you're one of the biggest global brands. I'm inspired to get going with our conversation.
Great. Let's get started.
And let's start from kind of the beginning, if you don't mind, with the early years. Talk us through in terms of your career, in terms of how it progressed and how you pivoted. Tell us the key parts of that.
Key parts are probably that I always felt when I was very young, because I was the one of 6 kids, that I wanted, my dad to notice me, but I always felt quite stupid. And I went away to school very early, to boarding school. So I think that when I was about 15, 16, I sort of thought, what can I do that my banker dad will think, okay, there she is. And I thought I should go into the city. Okay. And I wasn't good at getting qualifications. So I went in as an assistant in a commodities trading firm. And I went in not long before something called Black Friday, Black Monday, I can't remember, but it was when there was a real financial crisis. Right. I did it for a little while. I hated it. I just would, go on the tube from wherever it was to Tower Hill, and I would have the FT on the outside and the Daily Mail on the inside. I was such a fraud. I felt so separated from, knowing who I was. And also at the time I was using drugs. And I just went from sort of thought of that I should do this to I should do this. I didn't have a clear path. Okay. But that was in my thought of a career. I always knew what made me happy, which is making over my girlfriends. And that started from 6.5 when I went to boarding school. So that was my sort of thrill. Right. And whatever I was doing in my life, or whatever unhappy or generally unhappy then in my career I would then find my happy spot was in my bathroom with my girlfriend saying, use this for your spots, use this for your makeup, this new Miss Selfridge lipstick is great, and should you just tuck in because you shouldn't feel embarrassed by your tummy. And it just was those moments that brought me happiness. And after quite a few years of grappling with working out who I was, at 26 I went to rehab. I came out at 27, and I thought it's a chance to start over. So I thought, what do I actually enjoy doing as opposed to what I think I should do? And that's when I made my passion my career.
Yeah, and I think that's sometimes one of the hardest leaps to take, when it's like, you've got your job, you're doing things that sometimes you're losing passion for, and then you have to pivot and be like, okay, now I actually want to do what I enjoy and make that fun part actually your work. So was that scary though, like when you decided to take that leap? What made you give you that confidence to be able to do that? Was it just one day you're like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm going to do what I enjoy? What would you say to someone who wants to change their career to do something they enjoy, but they're worried about doing that?
I think if you ask me that question, I would say it's more, you have to decide first of all, are you somebody who wants to leave work and not worry about it? Or are you somebody who quite likes the passion of being absorbed by something fully? Right. Because if you decide to go on the journey of being an entrepreneur, you need to know that that's a mindset you've got to get your head around. Yes. And some people are brilliant at working in a company, and some people are I am terrible at working for other people and working in a company. And I've, from 27, I was self-employed because I started as a writer for the Telegraph. I had a column for 7 years called What Not to Wear. Yeah. I then did a TV show called What Not to Wear for about 10 years. I did another TV show, and then I went around the world doing a further TV show. So for about 20 years, I was really self-employed, but each autumn wondering, will my contract be renewed? Will I get that deal again? You know, so there's that trepidation of being self-employed too. But it wasn't probably until I had this experience of going around the world and thinking, as I made over these women in these different shows in different countries or different religions and ages and skin tones and attitudes to life, that there was a similarity in where women can get a little bit just like they want to rethink their routine and they don't know perhaps always where to start.
Yes.
And how can you bring a woman support so she can sort of shine her inner light and she can feel great about herself? And how can you give her energy? And that does come through the art of sometimes helping the outside to help the inside come out. And I do believe there is a combination of two things that make somebody feel a total. So when I knew that I was enjoying doing that, and it started gently, sometimes I think at 50 I made a conscious decision to do certain things, but I think at that time in my life, in my 30s, I knew I had nearly died to get clean. So I knew that I didn't want to compromise my life. Right. I did know that. I knew I wanted to do something that I woke up and enjoyed every day. So I thought, okay. And then a mixture of perseverance and luck and hard work got me to getting that first column. From that, somebody who worked in TV then said, I'd love to make this a TV program, and someone from the BBC then did a commission. In between, I started my first online business in 1999, which I raised money for very quickly, but there was no e-commerce online then, and I had to close it in 2 years. From closing a business, I learned so much. I learned what not to do. I learned how you should hire. I learned how not to hire. I learned many things. So when I went back in, aged 51 or actually 49, to starting Trinny London, I knew that I had to start in a different way from before. So we always, from each thing we learn something which we bring into our little armor of what we can do.
Makes sense. It's each of those little steps, and every little step is very important. And whether that's a step forward, whether it is a failure, it's still useful in your future.
But going back to your question, which is, do you know if you're cut out to be, or do you taking that leap? Because I think that was the original question. I feel there are certain things you can do to help yourself take a leap. And one of them is, if you're going from the security of a job and you think, I'd really like to start something, you need to give yourself a runway, a financial runway, to have the freedom to pursue your idea, which might mean that for a year, you've got to compromise. You've got to go in and maybe think, am I being paid what I should be paid for the job I'm in? So really check, check your value. Know your value. And think, should I renegotiate my salary? That's one thing I'd say to anyone at the beginning. The next thing is, what if I really want to start something and I want to be able to live for a year without having for the business to financially reward me? What do I need to give up in my life now in order to have the freedom to do that? So this might be, do I need to rent a cheaper flat? Do I need to go out only 1 or 2 nights a week? It's like, what are you prepared to do for that bigger opportunity at the end?
So it's the practicalities as well.
It's a practicality, because you don't want to feel that you saved 3 months worth of money, but after 3 months you think, I nearly think it could work, but I'm not sure, and then you go back and find a job. It takes, I think, sometimes a year to really think. You're going to do lots of research when you're still in another job. You're then going to think, okay, I'm ready now. I've saved my money. I've done this thing. Now I'm going to hand in my notice. That's a huge deal. But I've got a year to prove it. And that just gives you that breathing space that if you have a little hiccup or something, So I found myself in a situation when I started Trinny London that I got some initial funding, like friends and family. And then it ran out because I'd done some preps of formulas. I'd gone and done some prototypes. You know what this is like, starting your things. And so I thought, okay, what can I do? And there's a kind of mad guy on Instagram called Gary V. He's very in your face, but he's also good, and he's very good at predicting things. And I followed him for about 10 years, 12 years. And he said, and I remember I was sitting at, he said, look around your home and see what you can sell. And, he's speaking most of the time to 22-year-old boys, all right, who've bought too many pairs of good trainers who need to sell them on eBay to give themselves some funding. But he spoke to me. So I thought, I've got my clothes. I had a career in fashion. So I know I have to sell my house, because I'm going to have to sell my house to start this business. I can't afford to live in it. So why don't I just sell a lot of my wardrobe, which I then did, because I thought, what have I got to do to get there? So that gave me another bit of a runway to then progress with the idea to a stage where, after I had proved what I felt the proposition could be, I was in a position to then go and get funding.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's having that strategy, I think, is
a little,
key.
Yeah.
A little strategy.
And
not
breathing
just,
space.
And breathing space.
Yeah.
And doing it in a way where it's less scary, I guess, for you.
It's always going to be scary.
It's always going to be scary. No, I completely agree.
Maybe more manageable.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Scary and exciting.
So, yeah. Which is part of the reason why you do it, I guess.
Exactly.
So Trinny London, it's known for, giving us the tools to feel our best versions of ourselves. You've done so many different projects, so many impactful things over the years. Have you had a favorite that's really stood out for you, or had a major impact on people around you?
I think there's times when you feel an impact in different ways. So you can feel an impact with a product you create. I recently created a product called the Elevator, and I felt women, do feel, there's a Nora Ephron book, it's about my neck, you know. And I think there's a sensitivity we feel. Some things we think, I don't give a shit, and other things we think, And it resonated, it really, it hit totally correctly. It's got incredible ingredients, great clinical trials. And so I felt really proud that we created something that is a cult product already. So that's an amazing achievement of, just setting out to do something. We do things as a brand which are about what we represent as a brand, which is igniting energy in women. So I did something recently called Walk and Talk, Trinny Walk and Talk. And I spoke to women on Facebook and Instagram, and I said, do you have times when you feel alone? You could be 30 or 60, but you have this sense, I'm feeling a bit alone, or the word we're scared of saying, I'm feeling lonely. And so we sort of just talked about this conversation on socials through Trinny Woodall, Trinny London, and then we had a few hundred people turn up at the store, and then they walked in Battersea, and we gave them all little cards of, exchanges of how to talk to somebody else. They had little colours so they could switch out and talk to different groups. And I thought, that's what we are as a brand, because we're more than just skincare and makeup. It's about this sense of community and connection and emotional connection. And we all need really great emotional connection. So I think when I feel the vibration of that the most, I feel we're doing what I set out to do.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's amazing. What's your current day-to-day? Because I mean, every time we meet, you're so busy doing multitasking, so many projects on the line. Is every day different? I see you with Victoria, in the morning with yoga. You do certain things at certain times, but is every day quite different in terms of the content that day?
So Trinny London's now 300 people. We have about 170 people in head office, and I'm the CEO. So on a Monday, I do an exercise at home. I run to work. We do catch-up meetings with team members on Mondays. Where are we at? What's the week ahead? I do a marketing meeting. I do something called weekly trade, which is to go through the trade of the last week. How has it been? We analyze it. Then I do an executive meeting, which is an executive team, and where are we at? What are our goals for the week and the months? Then I might have single one-on-one meetings. On a Tuesday, it might be that I'm dealing more with a marketing team, and I'm dealing with different departments within the marketing team, because at the moment we're in transition between two marketing people who will lead the team. So I'm sort of a bit hands-on there, which I kind of love, actually. And we also recently have had many new people, so it's an opportunity for me to very hands-on reinforce what is the manifesto of our brand. What do we stand for? That somebody who's been with us 5 years knows it as well as somebody who just joined last week. So that's been great. I've been rewriting the manifesto of what our brand is and just reinforcing it with the team. So I love Tuesdays. Wednesdays is usually new product development. So I'm either at the lab or I'm in London with a new product development team, and we're looking at 1 week skincare and 1 week makeup. So that's that's one of my favorite days too. Thursday is more a management day. And Friday is whatever life throws at me. I mean, there's about a squillion other things to fit in. And then usually my sort of social media, which a lot of people see and think that's my life, is about 3 or 4% of my work. And I might do that on the way into the office. I might do that on the weekend. If I'm just happen to be putting clothes together for going away, I'll make it a film. And it's how can I fit it in so it's not something that it just is a part of what I do. It's not a burden, it's an enjoyment. It should always be that sort of little enjoyment. And that's kind of, that's the pace of my life. And then probably 1 week a month I'm traveling.
Right.
And inevitably to America or somewhere we're going to go and expand to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing. So,
yeah.
so you've got that structure, but then of course you're working on different projects along the
Yeah.
way. No, it's really nice. I think definitely from your socials, it's so nice. You feel just like immersed in your world, and it's not, you just feel like it's so natural. And you're just, I know when we've been in the dentist chair, you've been with your camera, and I think people love it. It's amazing. In terms of like, every time we meet, your energy is like so high. You're always giving 100% to everything you do. What keeps you enthusiastic? What keeps you inspired? Because you inspire us. So who's your inspiration, and what do you do to stay inspired?
It's a very cyclical thing.
Okay.
Because I think that I feel it from energy of people I meet.
Right.
Who feel it from me, and vice versa. So I might be walking down the street and somebody will come up and say something very nice. I think the joy of what I do is that people never hesitate to come up and say hi. And if they do, and they DM me, say, I saw you and I want to go. And I say, why didn't you come up? Come and say hi. It's that interaction. And when you feel that you see somebody and they make you feel happy, then that person feels happy by their feeling. So it's very, very mutual. Right. It's a cycle, and I feel energy, I do actually sort of feel it. So when I'm this sounds very not nerdy, but sometimes I can feel how high or low my vibration is. So right now I've been in a very creative morning and pulling for the team to trying to bring together a concept for a new launch, and we were all in the dark. There were so many aspects of what this thing could do, and it was trying to see what's the light, what's that clear message, and we sort of got there a bit. And as I feel like I sometimes do meditation, and there's a meditation you can do when you need to give energy back to yourself. And it's a meditation where you sort of sitting up and we can all do this together, actually, because it's a nice thing to do if you're feeling in low energy, because it does really give it back to me, because I'm just tingling right now. But you kind of feel just put your hands like you've got a little golf ball, tennis ball, and just take your hands around and feel like your hands are going round that tennis ball. And then make that tennis ball silver or gold, whichever is your preferred metal. But make it just begin to feel that it's glowing. And your hands are nearly touching, but you really just feel that sort of vibration, that glow. This is a ball that's sort of on fire. And really feel the heat of it. And just take your hands a little further apart, but try and still feel that connection. Then go round like it's an orb in your hands now, golden or silver orb. And really feel the vibration of that. Feel the strength of it. It's there, it's alive, it's really throbbing, it's strong. And then take that ball and with your hands, push it into your heart. Like, push it in. So you're taking all that energy into your body. Okay, and then just feel your body now is infused with that energy. So that's one way I'll do that. Okay, of just that feeling. And then if you feel your fingertips now, you might feel there's a slight, not a tingling, but you just feel something, and that is the vibration of our energy. And it's just waking up our energy. Everyone has energy. Yeah. There are days when we can wake up and feel we have zero energy. Yeah. But how can we bring it and wake it up and get it out there?
I love that. I will definitely be using that. But I do agree, you can feel energy from different people, and I think it's so important you are careful with who, the energy you do surround yourself with as well, for sure. I promised I wouldn't ask any dental questions, but I have one question that many of our followers will want to know. So as dental professionals or medical professionals, every day we do need to look polished, we do need to look professional. At the same time, we've had tons of PPE on, mask, glasses, everything else. So it's really hard to get that balance of being able to still put all these things on and look polished. Do you have any tips for medical professionals on how to stay polished throughout the day and still feel good about themselves, but be able to work effectively?
I think that it's about really looking at skincare and makeup, skincare first. Okay. Because I think that sometimes people use makeup to make themselves look like they have good skin.
Right, yes.
And I think the better you look after your skin, the less makeup you need.
Yes.
You have a choice of how much you want to wear, but I can look at many women who maybe wear a heavy base because of a few things. They used to have bad skin.
Right.
I used to have very bad acne until I was 30. So until I was 35, I wore a heavy foundation, even though actually my scars had begun to fade, and I didn't really need to, but the habit had been there. So check out how much you are hiding under your foundation that you maybe don't need to, or what is happening with your skin that you need to just get in balance. And I think dealing with our skin is an internal and external journey. It's what supplementation you're taking. If you're prone to acne and things, should you be taking something like Simprove or a really good pre-probiotic? Dealing with your gut, looking at the oxygenation of your skin. Are you exercising? Are you allowing the oxygenation? Are you helping your vascular network and the sort of micro currents of your network working? Is your lymph managing to drain? Are you doing a bit of lymph drainage? Those things are very important, because then you're looking at ingredients you put in your skin and understanding what are good ingredients to put in my skin. So once your skin is in sync a bit, then you're not thinking about, let me put lots of powder on because I might get oily. You're putting niacinamides in to reduce oil levels, to reduce pore size. You're doing retinoids. You're doing these different things. And then it's about, I'm wearing a mask all day. So the bottom line is this, it's all about my eyes. So how are my brows? Are they framing my face? If I'm going down that path of life on a wonderful journey, it might be that the skin is a little lower and I'm tending to pluck my brows in the direction which they're going. No, do not. Don't let them lead the way. You lead the way. So always think, how do I slightly lift that outside of my eye? Because when I'm looking down on somebody, I want them to look into my eyes and to feel, the knowledge that I'm going to look after them. To feel that. And just, every person will want to do their eyes differently. Some people wear no makeup. But, with your brows, it's framing your face. It's setting the frame for everything. And I love blusher. You wear blusher.
Yes.
I love blusher. And I do feel certain principles in makeup, which are just my beliefs, but always match your foundation to the color of your skin. Don't try and buy a foundation the color you want your skin to be, because it will never sit as naturally on your skin. I love cream-based products more than powder-based, because powder-based can, however finely milled it is, ultimately it will kind of set a bit, and you can just feel you look a little dry. So how do you look hydrated and vibrant with your skin? Because that vibrancy in your skin is what gives it life. Yeah.
Really great tips. In terms of, we spoke about your sort of journey so far, Trinny London, what keeps you kind of inspired, etc., energy levels. How do you, we've seen the things you do online, but how do you look after in terms of like re-energizing throughout the week? Do you have to be quite strict with yourself? Because obviously when you have your own business as well, you get caught up, your mind is constantly working on new ideas, new products, business ideas. How do you switch off?
I think there's two things. There's how we use our phone.
Okay.
And there's things we do to reset. So I love yoga. I then discovered through Huberman podcast, Yoga Nidra, which he calls non-sleep deep meditation yoga or something. He loves to have an acronym for everything. But it introduced me the concept of maybe I should look properly at meditating, because I need to have that reset. And I had this sort of feeling, this year actually very strongly, how do I bring my best self every day to the room? Because when we're really stressed, it affects everything. It affects everything around us. And so what I do now uncompromisingly every morning is I do a 22-minute meditation. So I get up at 6 if I have. Normally I would get up at 6:30 or 7, so maybe I get up at 6, or I get up at 6:30, so I'm done by 7. But I do one which is on Insight Timer. It's a guy called David G, and it's called Deep Thought. And it's a Yoga Nidra meditation, which is this deep guided meditation where you also can plant a thought for the day. But he has an amazing voice, and he also was clinically tried at Massachusetts University Hospital in America to change your neural pathways within 60 days. So if you do it consistently for 60 days, you will actually shift a little bit how you function. So I do that but also I learnt Vedic meditation a few months ago, so I have a mantra as well. So sometimes I do the Vedic meditation with a mantra, and I would do that just in the morning and in the afternoon. If I do the guided meditation, I'll do it in the morning or just before I go to bed, because you can lie down to do it. Some meditations you shouldn't lie down. And that, God knows how it works, but I have a better day. I just do, and I can't explain to you why, but I bring a better version of myself to the room than if I don't.
It's about, I think it's so hard sometimes to find the time as well, even though it is only 22 minutes, or some meditations are very quick. But I think it's worth the discipline of doing it. It changes everything.
Yeah, because I think that when we're stressed, we're actually not that efficient.
Right.
You know, so the way we challenge ourselves on our thought process is harder. The way we make decisions is not always better. So even though we might think, how can we find the time? I think whenever I have days, when I do the meditation, I weirdly find myself with more time.
Yeah.
You know.
Makes sense. Go slow to go fast then.
Exactly right.
One of my favorite questions we ask all of our guests is 3 things that we would find in your mini survival kit, whether that's your handbag or on your desk, things you can't live without at the moment. If you had to pick those things, what would they be? Your phone.
I'd say my phone, because I can run a business from anywhere in the world with my phone.
Right.
You know, and so, you know, I literally... It is a fundamentally important thing, and it's a communication with my daughter. Right. So those are the emotional thing and whatever. So, you know, there was recently a electricity cut out in Madrid, where she's at university, and I couldn't actually get in touch. It was awful to just have that sort of, oh my God. It was the weirdest thing. It was like, anyway, I'm going to go there. Disconnection, yes. I would say SPF 50.
Yes.
Because I just think that if every single woman did an SPF 50 from when they, first went in the sun, they would spend far less money on skincare, because skincare is a lot about the damage you've done as a result of sun damage, which is also not in direct sun. 40% of damage to our skin is done on cloudy days. Yeah. So having that protection to me is paramount. So I'd say that's number 2.
So you top up throughout the day? Like, do you have it in your bag so you can top up throughout the day? Or
I do. I mean, like, I just put it on when I finish now. I was in a hotel all morning doing some filming, but I just actually put it on before I came here. Right. I just thought I'm going to be out. I just do. And on my hands as well. Right, I put it on. That's a bit later to the table. That would have been nice to have started years ago. So third thing would probably be, I don't know. In my handbag, physically in my handbag. What is in my handbag? I'd kind of say my stack, because it's my makeup bag in a little stack of pots, and I have my lip, cheek, and eye in there and different things, and it's
never know.
I
when
always
you might
have
need
it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, love it. I think all of those are truly essential. Yeah. Finally, what can our listeners look forward to? What have you got in terms of exciting things coming up? Any you've achieved so much already, but what's your kind of future ambitions or things that you still got on the pipeline?
Well, I'd say if I look at, when I did this thing, I was talking about the manifesto for my team. Yeah. And I was saying, we have this sense of, we want to bring energy to women. We want to ignite passion. We want to, they know we make profoundly good skincare and makeup products, and we want to change the way we talk about beauty. I don't like the way for mature skin. It's like I'm not a cheddar cheese. I don't like sort of any anti-aging terminology and things. Yes. And I think there's a sense between. I don't also believe in aging gracefully, because that means what? You don't wear SPF, you don't do anything. And there's also a huge breadth of what that means. You do Botox, you have facelift, whatever. Okay. But I feel that it's important we do for ourselves as women what makes us feel that when we look in the mirror, we don't feel tired. Because if I don't feel tired, and if I feel full of energy, I can do anything. And if I feel tired, I can't. Yes. And it's that's for me what the wording should be around. So it's how can we change that wording? And so far we've have 1.6 million women who know about Trinny London, and in 3 years I want to get to 10 million women. Amazing. So that's that journey. So how can we take that message out in its entirety to 10 million women in the next 3 years?
if anyone can do it, it's you. I think redefining that language of beauty, I think that's, and it's so impactful as well. As you said, it's not just about the physical side of it, it's everything else that follows, and the energy side. So Trinny, thank you so much for such an inspiring conversation. I always love listening to you on your podcast and everything else. So thank you for everything you do for the community. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you back again at Harley Street.
Great, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Check out our latest By Dr. Reena edit on www.bydrreena.com.